You know, Americans waste 40% of food due to improper storage. Food waste expert Jonathan Bloom joins us with tips and tricks to preserve your food and decrease the waste. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I will say, I will take the blame here. My family, we're really bad about this. I feel like I'm throwing away so much, so I'm so glad you're here to help today.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for having me. Happy to help.
Okay, let's go ahead. I think first, though, let's set up your background a little bit. How did you become passionate about this and that you're able to share your knowledge with us today?
I'd been a journalist for some time and I was writing about food. Then I became aware of how much food we weren't using. And to someone who loves food as much as I do, and knowing how many people in the world don't have enough to eat, that didn't sit well. So that led me down this path of researching and writing about wasted food.
How can people take the things that you've learned and use them in the kitchen? Like, first off, you know, food waste. How can we decrease the food waste that we see in our kitchens?
Yeah, well, the first step is simple awareness. Just having a conversation like we are now will lead people to do some self-examination and look at how much food they're not using. The average family is wasting $2,700 a year through the food that they don't use. So there should be a lot of room for improvement and hopefully motivation to do so.
So we always play the game in our house, like, how long has this been in the fridge, or does this need to be kept in the fridge versus on the counter? What are some tips that you do have when it comes to storing that food so that it does last as long as it possibly can?
So when it comes to storing the food, it's so essential to do it in the right way, and having a tool like a vacuum sealer, like the Food Saver FM5000, to buy those foods in bulk and have confidence that they'll stay good. That's a great way to avoid some of those refrigerator casualties. Also, if you're going to buy seasonal produce, or if you want to keep your leftovers fresh, that's where the fresh food preservation system comes into play. And you're going to be able to keep your food good twice as long with that kind of refrigerator storage with the vacuum sealing. And if you're freezing your foods that have been vacuum sealed, you're making sure that they stay good for up to 5 times as long.
Well, I got to say, I'm glad that you did bring up produce, because I want to talk about that specifically. I know there's some ideas, too, that you can have when you go to the grocery store. Any tips as far as produce goes, or what are those shopping tips? Because apparently this starts even before you get home.
So the overarching tip is to just shop smarter. And that may look different for different people. But meal planning and making a detailed shopping list is really important. And sticking to that list and avoiding those impulse buys, that's usually helpful. But if you have the right tool, then you're able to take advantage of the savings in some of those sales and promotions. And if you're anything like me, when you see a good sale on chicken or beef, you're going to take advantage of those savings. And, you know, if you have a vacuum sealer, you're going to be able to make sure that food will stay good up to 5 times as long in the freezer.
I'll say it's all about the equipment, I can just tell. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry we are out of it now, but we do appreciate your tips and tricks.
All right, thanks. Foodsaver.com for more tips.